Spider-Man No Way Home. Hey man, I can't believe that part in the movie when I haven't seen the movie. I don't want to get spoiled. I've been off social media. If you can just not spoil the movie for me, that'd be great. Oh, God. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. I won't spoil it for you. I did want to mention, though, I couldn't believe that moment in the movie when all of them just... Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to just not spoil it. Okay, do you think we could do this review without spoiling the movie for, our lovely viewers here? I mean, yeah, only if I can exploit them all for money, fame, and likes on YouTube. I'm just kidding, of course it's going to be spoiler free. Enjoy the review. Hello and welcome everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood ASMR artist, the ASMR Ryan. Now I just got back from watching Spider-Man No Way Home, and we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review. I'm going to explain this real quick for the people that are a little nervous about running into spoilers. I'm going to kindly ask everyone not to comment any spoilers on this review, just for the sake of people that haven't seen the movie yet. I'd really appreciate it. Also, I'm going to not spoil anything until the end of the video. I'll be putting timestamps below in the description, so you can scroll along the video and skip to a point in the video that you'd like, or once the spoiler warning comes up, you can head on out of here and get your tickets to see the movie. And it would not be an ASMR Ryan review without a question for you. I need to know in the comments below, who is your favorite Spider-Man? Is it Tobey? Is it Andrew? Or is it Tom? Let me know in the comments. My answer would be Tobey. I grew up watching him and I just can't seem to shake off that nostalgic feeling of the Sam Raimi trilogy. So let me know in the comments, and without further ado, let's get into the review. In Spider-Man No Way Home, for the first time on the big screen, everybody in the world, in the universes, metaverses, knows the identity of Spider-Man. I really loved the ending of Far From Home. It really just made me go, holy crap, everybody knows. Jameson just told everybody what's going on. Oh my god. So Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange for help, asking him if he can cast a spell to make sure everybody forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. I liked that angle because I felt, hey, you know what? Peter feels like crap. He is going through all this stuff with his friends. He's worried about doing things in his own life as he grows up, going to college, having a family, furthering his future rather than just being Superman. And I really liked the idea of Doctor Strange helping Peter. But of course, Peter screws it up while Doctor Strange is casting the spell for him, because he just keeps putting in request after request after request, ruining the spell, opening up many different universes in this giant metaverse that Doctor Strange mentions they still know so little about, bringing in a lot of other villains from other universes that just made our minds explode. Now, what I'm going to talk about now is what you can see in the trailers. So, semi-spoiler warning. If you've seen the trailers, you know what I'm going to say. I won't be mentioning anything in the movie right now. So, in the trailers, you can see that we have a lot of incredible villains from other Spider-Man movies, the Tobey movies, the Andrew movies, and the Tom movies, coming back to come together to eliminate all the Spider-Men for good. So we have Willem Dafoe returning as the Green Goblin, which I think he did amazing. We'll be going into characters in a little bit. We have Doc Ock coming back. We have Dr. Connors as that big lizard man. We have the Sandman, and of course we have Electro. I really liked the fact that they brought them all in together. Being honest, I thought that, a Spider-Man 3 would happen, where they had way too many villains in the movie and not enough time to really not flesh out the characters, because we've seen them before in other movies. But for the people who are coming into this movie without having seen the Sam Raimi movies, movies, or without having seen the Sony Andrew Garfield movies, I do believe they did a fantastic job explaining the background of each villain, showing their motives, and really exploring how each one felt coming into this universe. And one of my favorite things about this movie versus the other two movies in the MCU is it's the darkest. It really takes a pretty dark tone in the majority of the movie, and it's something we haven't really seen with Tom Holland's Spider-Man or Peter Parker yet. In Homecoming, Iron Man really carried that movie. People were memeing it, saying that it was Iron Man 4. Far From Home, although a fantastic movie, I love it very much, mainly because I'm a sucker for Jake Gyllenhaal, but it felt like it was really being carried by what was happening in the MCU. Nick Fury kind of coming in. It really had that great, bigger feeling to it than just a Spider-Man movie. This one gives off that same exact feeling with all these villains coming in. My brother made a joke. It's Endgame meets Spider-Man. It's a really, really fun movie to be able to see Spider-Man not only interact with the people in his universe, but all the others as well. With that being said, the story's simple. It's to the point. It's very well paced. Peter Parker's identity is revealed. He screws up a spell trying to get people to forget who he is, and he truly is put through some of the hardest things Peter Parker has ever been through in order to rectify and make right of all the wrongs that he's made with his friends, family, and of course, all the villains and heroes he's ever ran into. With that being said, I think this movie is the first one to really, really, really show how hard it is for Spider-Man and Peter Parker to separate themselves. Tom Holland's Peter Parker just wants to grow up, go to college, spend time with his friends, and make a family someday, while at the same time, his identity being revealed of Spider-Man is just like ruining everything, not only for him, but for all of his loved ones. And that kinda is the story of Spider-Man. Whoever's around him ends up either breaking their spine or dying. Yikes. All in all, I love the story. It's incredibly simple. It's well paced. Each character, each person, the writing, everything is done so well to really show how difficult the situation is, not only for Peter, but everybody involved. And again, with a cast this big, I had no idea if they were going to have enough time to show each character's arc, motive, and where they were going to end up. But somehow, they did it. Excellent story, Spidey-Man. The characters we're probably going to spend the most time on. I'll try and make it quick so the video isn't too long for you, but I'm starting off with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Now, I will be honest with you guys, Tom was actually my least favorite Spider-Man because I thought he always had to rely on the MCU in order to really portray how good a Spider-Man movie can be. It was always Iron Man saving him, or Nick butting in for a cool cameo or something like that. And as many cameos that are in this movie, I never felt like anybody else in the movie was the main character. Tom stole the show not only as a struggling kid going into college, trying to rectify all of his wrongs and help out the people in his life, but as Spider-Man, as some guy that is really up against the world at this point. He is public enemy number one, and it really shows in this movie. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Now, Willem Dafoe is one of my favorite actors of all time, and coming back into this movie as the Green Goblin, I would say one of his most iconic characters. I got chills when I first saw him in the trailer, and then seeing him in the movie with that fully packed theater of people just losing their minds, it made it just that much more special. In this movie, without going into too many spoilers, they explore a different side of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. It really explores what if he was actually crazier than he was back in the Sam Raimi days? What if the Green Goblin wasn't only this man with two sides to him, one innocent, helpless scared side of him, and one crazy maniac that just wants to cause destruction and ruin Spider-Man's life. I think Willem Dafoe's acting in this one is, you can tell he was so excited to come back and play the Green Goblin. At this point, I can't see anyone else playing him, and watching his performance in this movie makes me believe 110% he should be the Joker in some movie. We need like an older Joker movie where he's all grown up and an old man, because that man can play crazy and he can play it well. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, I was so happy to see him back. Many fans of all superhero movies argue that Dr. Otto Octavius in Spider-Man 2 is one of, if not the best Spider-Man villain, or I almost said horror villain, superhero villain of all time, which honestly I would agree. He stole the show in this movie. As much as I love Willem Dafoe, his character had definitely the most twists and turns. He had the biggest arc, I would say. He had the most lines. He just was such a relief in this movie whenever there needed to be something explained, whenever we needed a funny little wisecrack. He was never just that one guy. He did both of those things perfectly. So, Alfred Molina, I love you so much. You did fantastic in this movie. Such an incredible performance, to the point where I am going to look him up and see a lot more of his other work, rather than just watching him for Doc Ock, because he was probably my second favorite character in this entire movie. Jamie Foxx as Electro. Now, we all know how terrible a lot of the writing for Electro was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I can tell you there's none of that here. They acknowledge and break the fourth wall many times, acknowledging the fact that Electro is different in this movie. He looks different. He doesn't have that ugly comb-over. He's not a nerd. He's not this really shy, crazy dude. He actually has a thirst for power. He has a plan, and he has something that he wants to accomplish. You know, it's not really this misguided, socially awkward kind of guy anymore. You know, he really is a villain, and you can see that in this movie for sure. Loved Electro. Thomas Church as Sandman, and Rhys Ifans. I'm sorry, as Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard Man. They both were in the movie, obviously. I expected bigger roles from them both, but I would say that, you know, they're there. They're great, and you kind of have to see how everything ends up. But I would say the only thing that disappointed me about them two was they didn't have much to do or much to say for the most part. Both amazing actors and characters, and I really was just, I guess, happy that they were there. They definitely weren't filler characters. They weren't shoved in the background, but while they were both good, I feel like there wasn't much material to both of their characters. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I got it. What Robert Downey Jr. is to Iron Man, Benedict Cumberbatch is to Doctor Strange. I can't see anyone else playing this character. He's absolutely fantastic. He was my favorite character in Infinity War, and he is just proving how he is some of, if not the most overpowered superhero out of all of the Avengers, out of everyone we've seen in the MCU so far. I'm sorry if you could hear my dog, by the way. I've given him about 5 treats. I've fed him, I've taken him outside. I think he's just having a little separation anxiety, so I'm so sorry for the doggy whimpers. Now, Doctor Strange in this movie is not only an incredible person to give dialogue, exposition, any type of explanation that's needed, but he's probably one of the biggest comedic reliefs in this movie. He is hilarious, he's funny, he delivers some of the funniest lines in the movie, and as I said before, what Robert Downey Jr. is to Iron Man, Benedict Cumberbatch is to Doctor Strange. He knocked it out of the park once again. He was not only my favorite character in Infinity War, but he is now showing how overpowered and how incredible Doctor Strange is when it comes to the MCU in general. This guy is a freight train, and I am so excited to see the multiverse movie with him. It's just chef's kiss, Benedict. Chef's kiss. And without going into too many spoilers, he's also a very likable character. And yeah, I think that's all I might say for that, because I love him. Perfect character. Love it. Great. I'm not going to say any more. No spoilers. I'm going to wait till the end. Zendaya as MJ and Jacob Batalon. God, I'm bad with names. As Ned are both great characters. I'll be honest with you, in Far From Home, I didn't like MJ too much. She just seemed like she was that really mean, annoyed girl all the time, and I kind of understand what they were going for there, but it didn't really work with me. In this movie, rest assured, she is absolutely incredible. She is a major help and a huge rock for, Tom Holland's Peter Parker to always grab onto and have that motivation for. She's the MJ to Spider-Man. You can kind of see where that's going. Ned. Now, Ned, I'll be honest, was one of my least favorite characters in both Homecoming and Far From Home. But in this movie, he's awesome. He's so great. His character was completely redeemed for me. I love the actor, Jacob Batalon. I'm very bad. He did so good. You really felt that best friend vibe, as they did with Homecoming and Far From Home, but it never really was much character to Ned other than a funny quippy line. You really get to dive deep into who Ned is as a person, how he plays a role in this entire movie, and he's actually a major part of the movie, which I loved, and I could surprisingly say I was completely caught off guard by what they do with this character. It's a good thing. I really enjoyed it, but I was like, wow, okay, good for you, Ned. Great characters. And Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. There's not much else to say when it comes to all the Aunt May actors that have played her. They're all super amazing. I do love Tobey Maguire's Aunt May. To me, she was the most realistic Aunt May when it comes to this old lady that just wants to take care of Peter, and sometimes she can put her foot down. Marissa Tomei does a great job portraying Aunt May in this movie. Although not my favorite Aunt May, she, again, can do no wrong. They wrote her character perfectly. They made her funny, they made her loving, they made her stern. There are a lot of moments where you can really tell this is a lady who wants what's best for Peter. She truly treated him as if it was her son, and you can see the love, you can see the connection, the chemistry between her and Peter throughout the entire movie. And again, they explore so many different routes of how the world would change if everybody knew who Spider-Man was, and she plays a very big part in that, so I really loved it. Now, I'm not going to be talking about any other characters from here. We'll be saving that for the spoiler section, but let's move on. The overall tone of the movie. Now, what I love about the MCU, all Marvel movies, and for the most part, Spider-Man movies, is that they're really good at both separating serious moments versus the funny moments. With Marvel, there were a lot of times in other movies where I feel, oh my god, this is such a heart-gripping moment with so much emotion. Oh, they just made a joke. Okay. Oh my god, look at this. This is so intense, and man, that's another joke. Alright. You get a lot of that in this movie, but as much as I don't like it, I can tell you right now, they pace it out so perfectly where you can barely really notice and you're still sucked into the world. And that's what I really liked, because in most Marvel movies, I'm always looking for those moments. I'm always looking for the, oh my god, you got me reeled in. And he just told a corny joke. Alright, I'm gonna just come back out here. All you guys know, I love jokes. I love making jokes. In this movie, they did a fantastic job really separating the serious moments, the serious funny moments, and just the funny moments. It was really well done on their part. So, overall tone of the movie, I enjoyed. It had a very real feel to it. There's a lot of references to pop culture and how, again, the world would react today if we all knew who Spider-Man's identity was, who Spider-Man was. So I can successfully say they nailed the tone when it came to both keeping us involved in the world, feeling sucked into the universe, while at the same time breaking the fourth wall every now and then, throwing a curveball joke at us, and just making sure we're still on the edge of our seats while having a good time. Now this video is already going to be extremely long, so I am going to wrap up my spoiler-free review of Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't worry, I'm giving my score right now, but with no spoilers, so don't worry, I'm just going to give you my spoiler-free score now. Okay, you ready? We're good? Okay, perfect. I am giving Spider-Man No Way Home a 10 out of 10. An A+. Absolutely fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it. I laughed, I cried, I gasped, just everything. It was such a great experience. Not only watching it with Raven, which you guys know is my girlfriend, but my brother and his girlfriend. We just all had such a fun time watching the movie. It truly is that perfect wrap-up of everything that is Spider-Man. So I would highly recommend it. And now we're going to get into spoiler talk. Go get your tickets and watch it. Come back to this video and hear what I have to say. Alright? You good? Everybody that hasn't seen the movie is gone. We can talk about spoilers. I'll put a spoiler warning up. I'll put another one. Okay, another one. How about this one? Alright, spoilers are coming, okay? Just know that. Are we good? Alright, no complaining in the comments. I've given you enough of a warning. Alright, bro, Tobey Maguire is back. Andrew Garfield is back. Aunt May dies. Yes, everybody, I know that it was shown in some promotional stuff and it was leaked a long time ago that both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man would be in this movie. I did not watch the second trailer of Spider-Man No Way Home, specifically because there was a lot of people saying it showed too much, so I went in completely blind. I'm gonna run through this movie with all the spoiler stuff all in one take, so you guys can just bear with me, relax, and let's talk about it. The fact that Ned now has some sort of magic, Doctor Strange powers, I kinda liked. A lot of people in the theater were like, what the hell? What, Ned? But I, again, like I said before, really like where they were taking his character. And when he opened up that first portal and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man came out of it, the theater erupted. That scene, they also brought in Tobey shortly after they brought in Andrew. They both kind of had a standoff duel type scene, and it blew my mind. It made me cry happy tears. And like I said before, in a sold-out theater, we were definitely around a lot of Spider-Man fans that were just screaming their head off. I really loved Tobey in this movie, because usually we're in the world right now in Hollywood of killing your favorite characters, of bringing back these old school actors that are just old and wiltering or withering. I don't know what the word is, but I hated the Star Wars sequels because they brought back Han Solo to show you that he's just this old grump that dies. They brought back Princess Leia, which I love Carrie Fisher to death, may she rest in peace, but they brought back Princess Leia to give her almost nothing to do, to make her sacrifice almost useless for the most part. And it really, don't even get me started on Luke. I'm not going to talk about Luke, but this isn't a Star Wars review. This is just me explaining to you guys that I hate the idea that we are just taking old properties and bringing them back and going, remember that? Remember this guy? He's 75 now. Feel old? Yeah, me too. I think they did it better than most movies. Tobey didn't look like an old grump that didn't want to be there and was there just for a paycheck. Andrew looked like he was the most excited person ever to put on that suit again. I would say in this movie, Andrew was my favorite Spider-Man. They broke the fourth wall a lot, referring to the fact that the Amazing Spider-Man movies are probably the least liked when it comes to Tom, Andrew, and Tobey's Spider-Man. I love the fact that Andrew Garfield was so self-aware in this movie. There was a touching moment between him and Tobey where Andrew's like, yeah, I don't even look that cool to you guys. I mean, Tobey, you did this. Tom, you went to space to fight an alien. You guys did all that. I'm just here and I'm terrible. And Tobey's Spider-Man looks at him and is like, no, you're great. You're amazing. Say it, you're amazing. And it just was such a touching moment because while there's people like me in the Marvel fan base and the superhero fan base, what we like to do is pick apart movies, review them, and compare them to other similar movies. So while the Spider-Man fan base is fighting about who's the better Spider-Man, who's the worst Spider-Man, why Andrew sucks, why Tobey sucks, why Tom sucks, in the movie they're basically saying, guys, listen, they're all great. They're fantastic. Look at them all interacting and they love each other. That touched me so much because I'm so sick and tired of people saying, this is the best Spider-Man, and that's a fact. You suck. No, you can have your opinions, and that's exactly what they showed in this movie, so I really, really needed that. Aunt May dies. We never really got that Uncle Ben scene with Tom Holland. We got it with Andrew, and we got it with Tobey. I'm sorry about Happy, he's getting a little bit of separation anxiety. They had a scene where Aunt May dies. It's the first time I've seen anything like that in any of the Spider-Man movies. I'm not too familiar with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but I'm pretty sure Aunt May survived. And it really has a new look on it. It was one of the most emotional scenes I've seen ever. As we know, Uncle Ben dying in both Tobey and Andrew's movies were iconic scenes, and they were forever known as iconic scenes. I will tell you from the scene, like the entire scene when Aunt May died, including the little aftermath where they show Spider-Man reflecting on everything, was some of the most beautiful cinematography, the beautiful music. It was so cinematic that when they wrote that scene, when they shot that scene, they knew they were filming the next intro to their Marvel Studios logo. It's going to be a scene that lives in everyone's heads and replays in the iconic movie scene history book over and over. So I would say they did a fantastic job on portraying Aunt May's death. And I was sad to see her go. As much as she wasn't that big of a character for me, I was very sad to see her go. I'm trying to see if I'm missing any other spoilers that I glanced over. There was a moment where Andrew Garfield is mentioning to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, hey man, I know exactly how you're feeling. You lost Aunt May. I lost Gwen Stacy. She was my MJ. I couldn't save her, and watching Andrew reflect back on that moment after we never really got that third Spider-Man movie from him where he possibly reached closure, we got closure with this Spider-Man in that scene, and it was beautiful. Later on in the movie, there's a moment where MJ, Zendaya's character, Zendaya, I think it's Zendaya, she's falling in the exact same fashion that Gwen Stacy fell, Emma Stone. And while Tom Holland is unable to save her, there was a gasp in the theater of, wow, they're gonna kill MJ. Nope. Here comes Andrew Garfield saving MJ in the best way possible, completely redeeming that itch on the back of his neck that has probably haunted him, not being able to save Gwen Stacy. It was such a beautiful moment, and you can tell that it really brought a close to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man arc of, you know what, I did it, I saved MJ, and it felt almost as if he was holding Gwen Stacy in that moment, so I thought that was very beautiful. One thing that I didn't like at the end boss fight was we never really had a Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe moment. There was somewhat of a small one towards the end. The Green Goblin is the last villain standing as they're able to cure all the villains, and Tom Holland is he's beating the hell out of him, and he's about to murder Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and here comes Tobey Maguire stopping Tom Holland, giving him the look of, you know what, man, we're better than this. We're not villains, we're not murderers. Don't do this. And I already said spoiler alert. Willem Dafoe ends up stabbing. Tom Hardy's Venom was shown. Excuse me. I don't like Tom Hardy's Venom. I enjoyed the movie a little bit. As much as a lot of you are going to hate me, I love Tom Hardy. I loved him in Mad Max. I loved him in Legend. I loved him in plenty of movies. He's a fantastic actor. I love it. I love him in Bronson, which is a great movie. But I do not like his Venom because it's just way too cringe for me. And coming from the cringe king himself, I really just don't like how much they're trying to shove funny down your throat with Venom. And that was shown in the post-credit scene. Everyone was sent back to their universes, slowly disappearing. And you can see at the end, Tom Hardy, as he disappears, a little bit of the symbiote just comes off, and it's left in the MCU universe, which obviously is planning for a Venom/Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland in the MCU. So I'm very, very excited for that. But all in all, the ending, the closure that they all came to with Doctor Strange casting a new spell, having everyone forget who Peter Parker is, because that's the only way they can really stop all these people, villains, and everybody who understands who Spider-Man is now from coming into theirs, is for Peter to take that responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, and let Doctor Strange know, listen, man, I want everyone to forget me. So Doctor Strange casts this spell. We have this long montage of where people are at now, Happy visiting the grave of Aunt May, not knowing who Spider-Man is, not knowing who Peter Parker is. Again, sorry about my dog. And then we have, Zendaya and Ned at Zendaya's job, MJ's job. Peter coming in at the end and not really being able to approach them and tell them that he's Spider-Man. He feels conflicted to the point where he ends up actually not wanting to tell them, hi, I'm Peter, I was your best friend, and we dated, and I'm Spider-Man. He kind of saves that for another time, which I really liked because it gives us a lot more material to work with in future movies. And that's pretty much it, guys. There is so much going on in this movie. Electro's power trip was fantastic. Doc Ock was amazing. Green Goblin just shook me to my core. absolutely amazing. I was really scared for the MCU's future, especially after watching Eternals, which I was going to do a review for, but I didn't like it so much to where I was just like, I don't even want to talk about this movie. I didn't like it at all, but we'll see where they take the MCU moving forward. So I want to thank you guys. Again, my rating on this movie is a 10 out of 10, an A+, for Spider-Man No Way Home. I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend you guys checking it out as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys for watching these movie reviews. I get so passionate, and I have so much fun talking about movies with you guys. Let me know your thoughts below, but please keep it spoiler-free. I love you guys. Have a great night, and please don't forget to smile. Good night, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.